What's going on YouTube? Happy Thanksgiving, and if you're watching this on Thanksgiving, thank you for taking your time out of your day to watch this video. But speaking of Thanksgiving, what is Thanksgiving like in the Army? So you yourself may be curious about what Thanksgiving is going to be like because you're about to join the military, or maybe you're a loved one of somebody who's in the military right now and they're in training, or maybe they're overseas or something, and you kind of want to know what is Thanksgiving like in the Army or kind of in the military in general. I'm not 100% sure if what I'm going to talk about in this video happens for the other branches of the military, like the Marines, the Navy, the Air Force, but I know specifically for the Army because I experienced this myself. I was at AIT, what, 2 Thanksgivings ago? Not this past Thanksgiving, but the Thanksgiving before that. I was at AIT and I didn't get to come home for Thanksgiving, so I kind of got to experience what Thanksgiving is like on an Army post in the Army. And there's really 2 big things that you want to think about here. The first thing that's going to be different than a normal day or normal weekend is that you're going to have a 4-day weekend, and that's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. And I just wanted to get that kind of out of the way real quick because it's pretty self-explanatory. So generally on big holidays and stuff like this in the military, you're going to have a 4-day weekend, which means that if maybe you or your loved one or something is at AIT, then they're going to have today, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off, and so they're gonna have 4 days where they can kind of do whatever they want to do, and it's gonna be a fun time for them. But the big difference on Thanksgiving, the real big change, that's really the only big change for Thanksgiving, is when you go to the DFAC, when you get something to eat at the DFAC, because it's gonna be a different experience from any other time in the year. Whenever you actually go to the DFAC, it's gonna be is it gonna be better food? Is it gonna be natural food? Is it gonna be Thanksgiving-ish type food? You know, the turkey and like the mashed potatoes and gravy and stuffing and all that stuff. Is that stuff going to be at the DFAC when you go there? Now, when I was at AIT, I remember my first sergeant was just like hyping up Thanksgiving. He was just like, yeah, Thanksgiving in the Army is great. It's like fantastic, and I love, you know, taking my family to the DFAC for Thanksgiving because the dinner is, or the lunch is just so good. It's just such good food, you know, better than any other time. And I remember my first sergeant literally like talking to me and my friends and stuff, and he was just like, yeah, you know, make sure you go to, you know, lunch or whatever whenever we eat the Thanksgiving dinner. For us, it was during lunchtime. He's like, make sure you go. I always take my family every year because it's so good. And to me, I was like, okay, because, you know, for one, it was a 4-day weekend, so me and my buddies were planning on going off post for that weekend at AIT. And so we're like, okay, we'll stop by the DFAC and we'll go, right? Well, we get to the DFAC, and what you're gonna see in some of these pictures that I'm gonna display for you guys is there's all these decorations that they're gonna have in the DFAC. It's gonna be all Thanksgiving-ish. They're gonna have turkey stickers and stuff on the wall. The tables are probably gonna have counter cloths and stuff on them. And it's gonna be, they're gonna decorate the DFAC, the dining facility, to be like a Thanksgiving theme, right? And I remember walking in and I noticed 2 things pretty much right off the bat. Number one is they had all these cupcakes and they had all these turkey things on display, and it was just like really cool, and I was like, wow, like we're gonna get to eat this stuff. And then you see that it has a sign that says display only, and I'm going to show you guys a picture here. Like, for some reason they like making it look all real nice and fancy, and they're gonna have this really cool food, this nice food, you know, on display, but it's gonna be display only, and the actual food you're gonna get is not going to be that exact same thing. So that was kind of funny. The second thing that I wanted to say that I noticed was the people serving the food. It wasn't the normal lunch ladies, it wasn't the normal cooks and stuff that you get on a normal day. It was actually all of the higher ups. So all of your leadership, your company commanders or your battalion commanders, command sergeant majors, like really high ranks. And even in some places, depending on the unit you're at and where you are, you could have, you know, generals, colonels, lieutenant colonels, like really high ranking people in the military, and they're gonna be serving you Thanksgiving dinner. It's gonna be kind of a little bit weird. You're gonna, especially if you're in training, so if you're at basic training or if you're at AIT and you're going towards this, you're gonna be still in the mindset where like these high ranks, like it's gonna be a weird thing to have them give you your food, right? And you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, like this colonel is serving me my food right now. He's giving me my turkey. So that was kind of really cool. Across the board, it kind of like, I guess it's an Army tradition. What we like to do in the Army is having the higher ups, the company commanders, and all those people who are in charge, they will switch places with the DFAC personnel, the cooks, the lunch ladies and stuff, and they will serve you your you know, Thanksgiving dinner and all that stuff. So that is something that's kind of cool, pretty special, and it's just a nice little thing, you know, seeing them doing that, and they're just all having fun, and it's a pretty cool time. And you get to see, you know, that scary colonel or maybe even a general that you're just like terrified of, and then having them serve you food. It's just a pretty cool experience. So if you remember me talking about how my first sergeant was just hyping up Thanksgiving dinner at the DFAC, right? And he was just saying how it was so good, and he always takes his family to Thanksgiving dinner. Well, for one, he was one of the ones that was serving, so he probably had to be there. But is the dinner, is it actually good? Like, are you gonna have, you know, the normal things that you generally have for a Thanksgiving dinner? And pretty much so. You're gonna have turkey, you're gonna have stuffing and things like that, but it's not really gonna be anything that's special. You know, the only thing that might be different that you might normally have for your DFAC food on a normal day would be like maybe they have a nicer turkey to give you, or a piece of turkey to give you, than any other day, right? You're not gonna get any extra servings or anything. And what it really is, not to like burst anybody's bubble on how awesome they think the Thanksgiving dinner is gonna be, but whenever I went through there, it was basically, aside from like the turkey that was maybe a little bit better than normal and the ham, it was basically a collection of everything that they generally have in the DFAC. Everything that kind of is related to Thanksgiving dinner, they kind of made all that be on one day. And so it was like your big Thanksgiving dinner. So it wasn't like any extra special food. It didn't taste really any all that better. They still had like the same desserts. So like if you're at a place that's gonna have like pieces of cake or cookies or brownies or something like that, it's gonna be the same stuff there. And then you're gonna be able to look at like nice little displays of cupcakes and just really cool stuff that you're not actually going to be able to eat. So it's, aside from the display and then just decorating the DFAC to make it look really cool, and then having all of your leadership being the ones that are serving you, you know, the dinner isn't going to be anything spectacular. And obviously this could have just been like a few time case thing where, for me, apparently they didn't actually serve nice Thanksgiving food. But you know, maybe you're somebody out there who's prior service and you were like, yeah, we had like super duper nice stuff for Thanksgiving, and that could be the case. But you know, stateside where the food isn't going to be as good, because you know, when you're deployed, generally from what I understand, the food is going to be a lot better. So maybe if you're deployed, the food is going to be better for you. But stateside on post, the DFAC food is pretty much the same thing. It's just all Thanksgiving themed stuff. Aside from that, it's pretty much gonna be a normal day, right? It's pretty much gonna be a normal day. You're gonna start your 4-day weekend off, so it's gonna be kind of like a weekend. And that's pretty much the only special thing that you might see, you know, generically across the Army on what is gonna happen on Thanksgiving. You know, it may vary unit to unit on maybe some special events or stuff, but those are probably few and far between. But for the most part, the Thanksgiving dinner is probably gonna be the only special event that's gonna occur on Thanksgiving. So I'm gonna cut this video off here. I don't wanna take up too much more time of your Thanksgiving day. Again, I hope you guys have a happy Thanksgiving. Have a great day. If you do have any comments, questions, or concerns, comment section down below. If you want to, you can hit that like button. You can also subscribe. That would be even better. And as always, Instagram and Snapchat are right here. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys later.